Alex Harris for Seconds Out. I'm joined by British heavyweight title challenger Daniel Dubois, who we've already just spoken to, and former heavyweight great, former WBC heavyweight champion Bruno. Frank, what brings you down here?
Tony Bowles asked me to come and help this young man, just take him on the pads and for the experience with the press and whatever. So I'm just down there just helping a friend out and helping a very, very talented boxer and a very, very nice human being out.
Now, have you watched any of Daniel's fights? How familiar are you with his career and what?
There's a lot of fights that he's been with. I watched a lot of interviews that he's been with, and I've been very following him for a very long time because he's a very, very big and very, very powerful guy, but at the end of the day, he's a very nice guy as well.
Are there aspects of his style that you see you had in your career?
He's a bit more superior than with the style that I had. He's got a good jab, good right hand, good uppercut, good left hook, and he's a smart guy and he's hungry and thirsty to learn, and he's a very, very dedicated guy.
I want to bring Daniel in here. Daniel, similar question to you. Did you used to watch Frank's fights coming up, and what have you been able to adapt from his style?
My dad's, made sure I was aware of all the, the old school fighters and the fighters from that era. So I've watched and I've learned. I've hoped I've learned, subconsciously, and maybe at the same time as I've learned from these guys, I'm mapping out my own journey and my own way of doing things. So it's good.
Now, Frank, obviously Daniel's only 21, so even though he seems quite experienced, he's still quite young in age. Do you see a lot of aspects of yourself when you were 21?
Yeah, I was young, but it's a different era now. The youngsters are much more eating different foods, and they're much more bigger and much more powerful than when I was. But he's a very nice guy. He's got a good sense of humour. He's a pretty guy. He's hungry. He's thirsty. He's young, so he's got the world at his feet.
Now, obviously, on to July 13th, the heavyweight title fight between Daniel and Nathan Gorman. Yeah. How do you see Daniel dealing with Nathan's tricky style?
As long as he don't let Nathan get into his head trying to wind him up and use his style, he can move around, box very, very clever, don't wear himself out on timing, and hopefully he'll beat him and stop Nathan. But don't get involved in the psychology of the guy trying to wind him up, talking about old time when they were amateurs and he done this and they were sparring, and I think this one might have got the better of that. That was yesterday. We're talking about today. He's got everything that he needs to go in there. Just take his time, be smart, use his jab, use the right hand when he comes in, tie himself out and pace him to control the fight and box very, very smart.
Now, obviously, when you were fighting, you had quite a large partisan British following.
Yeah.
Do you see with Daniel being a bit more shy, him being able to emulate that?
Shy, he's young and he's just holding back. He's got a good sense of humour. He's very, very pretty. He's got his strength. He's got the thing. All he needs to do is mature, and as time goes on, it will come out and, be himself. He is being himself, but he's just not camera shy, but he's got a good sense of humour. You know what I mean? So I think it will come out later on.
Do you see him being able to create that following where you sort of had that die-hard British following?
It'd be more bigger because it is today. That was yesterday what I done. That was years ago. We're talking about today. When he start cracking one and two jokes, sense of humour coming out, and he's young. He's young. He's only 21 now. Look at him. He's strong like an ox. But when he's mature and he gets more experience, he's knocking over people now. I'll be scared for his opponents when he's fully matured. You know what I mean? But he's still young.
Now, quickly, I want to ask you about Tyson Fury at the weekend against Tom Schwartz. Did you watch the fight, and what did you make of Fury's performance?
Yeah, I watched the fight. He done a very, very good performance. You know what I mean? He could have got messy here and there, but he done a good number. He knocked out the guy. You know what I mean? But I'm sure his next fight will be more harder and more tougher than the guy he fought. But he's done very, very well, Tyson Fury, and good luck to him.
And Daniel, same question to you. Did you watch the fight? What did you make of his performance?
Yeah, I watched the fight. As Frank said, he did very well, and he'll probably be a step up slowly, and it was good, I guess, showcase in America.
Now, last question. Frank, I just want to talk to you about Fury and he's been very open about his mental health issues, as you have as well in the past. How important is it for ex-fighters, fighters such as yourself, to be open about the mental health issues they're experiencing? Obviously, Ted Cheeseman has also spoken about his gambling addiction. How important is it that fighters keep doing this and keep opening up about struggles they're facing in their lives?
The more people can talk about it, the more less people will go through stress. Women can cry together, women can talk the arse of a donkey and get things off their plate. Men don't like talking about it. Men don't like to admit defeat. Tyson Fury is an ambassador for the Bruno Foundation, which I'm very, very happy about. And it's nice that people are talking about it, because the more you can talk about it, you get it off your plate, understand about mental health, but everybody goes through it, you know what I mean, and not suffer in silence. There's a lot of people committing suicide. There's a lot of people doing some crazy things and not adjusting what is wrong with them. But now people are talking and people are being a lot more sympathetic. Years ago, if you came out and said that you're going through mental health or you're going through a bad time, people say that you're a nutter, and people take the mickey out of you and people are bullying you. But people are not bullying no more, because it's very, very serious that everybody's got to go through some form of mental health. So it's nice that everybody's talking about it and people are understanding a lot more about mental health rather than suffering in silence.
Is there somewhere people can go that you can recommend, that people can contact if they're struggling with mental health?
Well, the Frank Bruno Foundation is going to try and get in a unit soon. They can go to that. There's mine. There's all different places they can go. But what I'm scared about, people are going to the doctors and they're giving away tablets like sweeties. Sometimes that may not be the best thing. Look after yourself. Know your triggers. Look at yourself in the mirror and be honest to yourself and try and adjust whatever's triggering certain different things. If you're going through problems, everybody does go through a problem through their life. Try to talk to somebody, get it off your plate, and try and get some help or some counselling. There's always counsellors and understand people out there what would understand about mental health.
Well, Frank, thank you very much for talking to Seconds Out. Daniel as well, good luck for July 13th.